Example 1 says we should solve the inequality x squared plus 2x minus b is less than or equal to 0. The first step in solving a quadratic inequality is to find the zeros of the inequality, whereby if you are to represent it graphically, it gives you a graph. For example, it gives you a U-shaped graph. A quadratic inequality of this form, as we discussed in SS2, for it to be a U-shaped graph, you will have it that the coefficient of x squared is said to be positive. So for it to be a U-shaped graph, you have it to be ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. For the quadratic graph to be an n-shaped graph, as in this form, you have the equation to be minus ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So all we are going to do is to find the zeros of the inequality. Finding the zeros of the inequality entails that you get the intercept of the graph on the x-axis. So that gives us the zero of the inequality. So by factorizing this quadratic expression, we shall get the zeros of the inequality. So let's do that. Let's find the zeros of the inequality. So I'm going to equate the quadratic expression to be 0. So this becomes x squared plus 2x minus 8 is equal to 0. So you then factorize this. This gives us, look for two terms. Now when you multiply them together, it gives you the product of the first term and the last term. And when you add them together, it gives you the middle term. And that should be plus 4x and minus 2x. So when you multiply this together, it gives you minus 8x squared. And when you add them together, it gives you plus 2x. So substitute or replace it with the middle term. This becomes x squared plus 4x minus 2x minus 8 is equal to 0. So what we are trying to do now is to get the values of x. So when you factorize this, you discover that x is common when you factorize out x in the first two terms. You have x into bracket x plus 4. And looking at the next two terms, you agree with me that minus 2 is common. So you have minus 2 into bracket. When you divide this term by minus 2, you are left with x. And you divide minus 8 by minus 2, it gives you plus 4, which is equal to 0. So factorizing it for that, you have x plus 4 into x minus 2 is equal to 0. And you have x plus 4 is equal to 0, or x minus 2 is equal to 0. That means that x is equal to minus 4, or x is equal to plus 2. So I have gotten the zeros of the inequality. So that means that this is a graph. If this is a graph, we have our graph to be in this form, where this point is said to be minus 4, and this point is said to be plus 2. My diagram is not drawn to scale. So this is the graph of x squared plus 2x minus 8. Now, the question says we should solve the inequality. Solving the inequality simply means we should find the region where this equation is said to be less than or equal to 0. And that region is said to be the region that falls under the 0 mark. So from this point to this point along the y-axis, x is said to be positive, while from the equator or the middle point to minus infinity, you have x to be negative. So x is said to be less than or equal to 0 from this region downwards. This intercept divides this parabola into three regions. You have this as region 1, while from here to this other place is said to be region 2, and here to here is said to be region 3. Region 1 and 3 are said to be above the origin, which shows you that at these 2 points, the parabola is said to be greater than or equal to 0. But at region 2, we have it that this parabola is less than or equal to 0. And that is the solution to our answer, to our question. The solution to the question now is -4 is less than or equal to x, and x is less than or equal to 2, which is this region 2. And I'm going to shade it if you are to represent it graphically. Kindly like my videos as you watch, while I recommend that you subscribe to my channel if you are yet to do so, and also follow me on TikTok and YouTube at my lesson teacher Maths. Turn on the notification bell so as to be notified whenever a new video is being uploaded, while you can use the comment section to interact with me on areas that are still difficult for you to understand. You can also share the link with your friends and families so that they can also benefit from our daily classes. Let's take example 2.